Your assimilation into the Good Talk Network begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We are live on Facebook, and we are recording for the Good Talk podcast. I am your host, Joe Nalanto of thegoodtalknetwork.com, and this is the Good Talk Film Reaction Show. So we get together every week or so, and we watch an awesome cinematic release, and then we talk about it. We share thoughts and ideas on many far-reaching concepts beyond just the film. Sorry, I was a little distracted by pouring a beer right there, and I literally got just to like the top end of the beer. So sorry, folks out there listening that can't see what's happening on our Facebook page. But if you're just listening and you don't ever tune in live, give us a check out one time. If you go to Good Talk the podcast on Facebook, that's where we do the live shows as well. So you can always tune in and watch us as well as listen. We do thank everybody for listening, for subscribing, reviewing us on iTunes and Stitcher and all those great places. We really do love the ongoing growth that we see in our show, and it really goes a long way for us when you guys comment and interact with us and share the shows out there in Facebook land. Write a nice comment about us when you do. The film crew, such as it is myself and the teacher extraordinaire, astrophotographer James Owens.
I'm glad to be here. Talk some apes.
And hey, dude, real quick, plug your Instagram. If you guys don't know what astrophotography is, it is stunning. James takes photographs of planets, and it's awesome. And I would love to give his Insta feed some love. So what's your Instagram?
My Instagram is Mr. James Owens. I do it to stay in touch with my old kids and old students. And one thing I like to do is post my pictures of astrophotography that I take and work on. And they take a lot of work, and so I try and share it with everybody and kind of give everybody a taste of something we take for granted every day. It's
super admirable what you're doing with your photographs of the planets. I think it's awesome. And astrophotography is still kind of it's like a new concept that it's really cool to know that you're a part of that as the resident scientist of the show. Guys out there studying planets and researching stuff and sciencing all over the place. So it's great to have you. And my damn good friend and travel partner who joins me on many crazy endeavors across the country. Diehard, kind of a film aficionado, maybe the biggest critic of all of us here, but he's an artistic and not artistic, an articulate presence to have on our show, and we love his perspective with the film features, especially the one and only Elijah Grant.
Resident scientist, resident alcoholic.
He has a nice beer mug to drink over there, and he's got a Dos Equis. He didn't even pour it in his nice beer glass because it's trash.
This is for the beer glass.
Yeah, he's got a Ballast Point. And these shows, I love to tell you guys, we are proud to be sponsored by Audible, and it's a pretty big deal if you want to support the show by spending no money and just taking a little bit of your time. You can actually monetarily support the show and help keep the lights on around here by going to thegoodtalknetwork.com, and you click on our button for Audible. It will take you to a sign-up link. You can sign up for the Audible service. You get a free trial, and you get 2 free audiobooks. Audiobooks are incredible. It's the easiest way to imbibe new information. So get out there, read one of the books that somebody's been recommending to you for a long time. If you have intelligent friends, which I hope you do, they're or just fun friends, they're probably recommending a great book to you and that you have yet to read. So take that opportunity to support the Good Talk and support your friend who gave you a damn good recommendation. So go to our website, thegoodtalknetwork.com, click the button for Audible. If you're using an ad blocker, disable it so you can see the ad, and sign up for free. Take your free book, support the show, support your mind, and maybe support a good recommendation from somebody cool. We are also sponsored by Blue Apron. We have had a lot of guests here who are actually Blue Apron subscribers, both past and present, and it really does make meal planning easy. It might not be the most efficient way for you to eat all of your meals every week, but to supplement how difficult it is sometimes to come up with more creative suppers, I think it would serve a lot of us well. Probably you, to try Blue Apron. It's amazing food. It's stuff that you're not getting, and generally speaking, you're not making on a very regular basis unless you're a professional cook or chef out there. So support the show. Try Blue Apron for a week. We'll save you $30 on your first order. There's also a button on thegoodtalknetwork.com. So without further ado, gentlemen, we went to war for the Planet of the Apes today. It was the maybe final film, and
it's a complete trilogy now.
Right,
More
the
to
final
come,
film in
maybe.
the trilogy. We might get more films in the Apes universe, but this was the final Matt Reeves affair. That's the director, and it was phenomenal. By and large, as a trilogy, just as a whole, the story it tells, how intimate it was in the first one with young Caesar in Rise of the Planet of the Apes with James Franco, and then how it really all begins with the virus. And that's one thing I wanted to point out with the show right off the bat. I don't know what it is about any film in general, but I love getting an opening intro. Like, if every movie I ever watched could just give me like a brief paragraph synopsis to lead me into the movie, I wouldn't complain about that. And I like that they did it here, because I think for the most part, if you haven't watched the last two films and you go into this one, it sets it up pretty efficiently for you so that you are in a place and you can understand what's going on in this movie when you enter.
Yeah, that's one thing I thought when they did that multi-paragraph synopsis of the first two movies. The first thing I thought of was, man, I could have not seen the first two movies, and I think I would have been able to stay up with this. I wouldn't have been as invested in the characters. Right. I wouldn't have known some of the backstories of some of them, but I could have watched the movie. So that was a good move by the team there, that to really just categorize Rise, then Dawn, and then lead it directly into an opening battle scene that was pretty crazy. So very well done to start the movie off.
Yeah,
Elijah, thoughts on intros?
It's a fine way to kind of a just in case thing, to make sure everyone knows what's going on. And there's no problem. No complaints about that. That's sufficient.
Yeah, I know, super sufficient. I'm just saying, like, I wish more films did it. It seems like it was more utilized in the past than it is now, and it's just something that I love. It helps bring me in. It adds a little bit of flair to it all, and it builds it's a nice precipice to a story to get those introductions. And speaking of the opening of the film, and before we get too far, we as we always do, we got to briefly cover the trailers. Trailers before the film. We're not going to spend too much time on it because there was literally. Not literally, but there was like 7,000 trailers before the movie this time. There was, okay,
it was a little tough.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 trailers.
Too much. It just
add an extra half hour to
literally
a half
that's
hour.
crazy.
Most of
Yeah.
when you've seen these trailers already multiple times, and then it just gets to a point where
we saw the same trailer for multiple of the movies.
Yeah, most of the movies there were like, there was a couple that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
But
so I want to talk briefly, of course, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. We actually, obviously, we've seen the trailer. We're fucking nerds, and when shit like that hits the internet, we watch it within a matter of minutes. But Star Wars: The Last Jedi trailer, it was good seeing that on the big screen again. It brought to bear that's something I should mention to everyone, you yourselves and anybody else listening. They did release some behind the scenes footage at D23, the big Disney Expo event, and there was some new imagery and some new film in there for Star Wars: The Last Jedi. There was quite a few shots of Carrie Fisher that made me really emotional. Like, I was teary-eyed just seeing her on screen again. And I don't know that... I obviously have a powerful love and connection to Star Wars, but I wasn't anticipating an emotional reaction to seeing Carrie Fisher on screen. It made me wonder if perhaps the presence of Princess Leia in my life over time and her contribution to Star Wars, something that I love so much, perhaps was something that I was underestimating. Because, again, seeing her on screen now, I like almost want to immediately fucking cry.
Yeah, she was on a poster that came out of D23, and I stared. I must have stared at it for 5 minutes because I was thinking of just all my memories of growing up watching these movies and seeing Princess Leia shine in them and exhibit just incredible amounts of bravery, and I just really
and
loved
wit.
her character.
She's so fucking witty.
So witty, and Just knowing
So,
she's gone, it's
Yeah, if you haven't seen the Star Wars D23 behind the scenes feature they released, it's a few minutes long. I highly recommend that to anybody interested in the film. Then we had, and obviously that was an A+ trailer, Valerian and the City for 1,000 Planets. Once again, it's a show we've talked about here. It's a film that we're very excited for. Luc Besson.
Besson.
I think it's Besson, yeah.
So he has done some highly respectable and incredible films, such as Leon the Professional, The Fifth Element. I mean, he was involved with Taken, which the first one was really fun. Whatever, take it for what it was worth. Responsible for La Femme Nikita. Quite a few. There was another awesome one that I'm kind of forgetting that he directed. So Valerian is going to be amazing. The visuals that are on display in that trailer and how creative and just almost psychedelic in a way with how colorful and vibrant it is. I can't wait for Valerian. I hope it does well. Daddy's Home, and that I also gave that trailer an A. Daddy's Home 2, we've talked about. We know what we're getting with that. That's definitely like a C+, B-. And then kind of a new trailer, actually. Not a film that we've talked about, but real quick, American Made with Tom Cruise. It's another seemingly great story about the cocaine decade of the 80s and how the CIA was involved. It's all based on a true story. So we're talking most of the names like Noriega and Pablo Escobar. And I found myself wondering if there would be a connection to George Young in that from Blow. Of course, who Johnny Depp played. And it just obviously there'd have to be some overlap between their worlds if they were both that heavily involved in the process. So American Made looks unreal. It looks great, right?
looks well done.
Tom Cruise is gunning for an Oscar.
Tom Cruise he's gunning for an Oscar.
I've actually liked the last handful of movies he's done. I did like the...
You like Jack Reacher?
I did like Jack Reacher. It wasn't near as good as the first one, but I thought it was fun for what it was. And I thought Tom Cruise is really what held any of that together. So,
it was it was refreshing to see a new trailer, and that movie looks fantastic. I have a tendency to watch most of the drug movies, man. I love that. I love that era. I love the interactions and the whole watching how they worked with the government and how sneaky they were. It's amazing. Blow, Scarface, Layer Cake. I mean, the list of amazing drug movies kind of goes on and on. But this one, again, based on a true story. So American Made looked great. I gave that an A. The Dark Tower we've seen. That's coming out August 4th. I was a little disappointed that it was the same trailer yet again. Why aren't there more trailers? I don't know if that's just what they do now is they release one trailer and that's what stays on the cinematic reel, and then just they expect everybody else to find trailer number 2 and trailer number 3 on the internet.
They haven't actually released a second trailer.
Like, what the hell?
Yet. It's kind of ominous.
For somebody that is really excited for that movie, I'm a little disappointed that we didn't see anything new from that movie.
I just in general, and then Blade Runner 2049. There is a new trailer for that out now. It was not attached to this, so hopefully we start seeing that. In films, obviously, Blade Runner 2049, it's an A+. Then we got a really weird one that I was not...
I was so...
The Shape of Water.
That's what it was called, The Shape of Water.
Yep, The Shape of Water. It's a new Guillermo del Toro film, and it looks highly intriguing and just...
I mean...
really... strange concept. It's going to be creepy, I think. It's going to be a little bit creepy.
It's going to be creepy and weird. And
really creepy and weird. Really well acted.
Yeah.
It's basically
in love with the space creature.
A deaf girl falls in love with the creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it looked like, was the creature from the Black Lagoon, like some sort of aquatic, weird, horrific creature. So definitely the most original spin of any movie being presented through the trailers. Definitely interested. I gave that trailer also an A. Murder on the Orient Express. Elijah doesn't have a lot of hopes for that. This is a murder mystery.
It's very bold. It's
taking place on a train, obviously.
Completely riding on the screenplay. Because if you're going to make that movie work, I love the classic murder mystery. It's something we haven't seen in a while. So I'll be looking forward to seeing some more trailers for that and maybe see it. Not something I'll probably see in theaters, but
Elijah, your thoughts on Murder on the Orient Express?
It's just conceptually conceptually neat, but not something that immediately grabs me. It's like a wait and see. It's like a movie that I'm not really going to pay. But hey, if it comes out and it's good word of mouth, then I'll
Sure,
be interested.
that's exactly
good
it.
Cast,
I'm not going to rush out and
but
see
yeah,
it.
it's just not the. I mean, just based on that one trailer there, it wasn't enough to just be like, oh
we
shit.
just got a little taste.
Yeah, a little taste, and dude, the cast is amazing. I again, as we kind of discussed briefly when we were just chatting it up before the show started, obviously a great cast does not automatically guarantee you some awesome film. But with that cast and that concept, and I would love to watch it and have my mind constantly be racing and wondering, and if they can really play on the characters' interactions with one another, I think they have the acting cojones in that movie to have a good film.
It's got to be a good script.
Yes.
To make that work, I think.
Oh yeah, undeniably, especially again with all the actors they have.
It's kind of rotten of me, but I think just because when Johnny Depp's name pops up, so
you're
I'm just immediately like rolling.
You just hate Johnny Depp now.
I kind of just I don't think much of Johnny Depp these days.
you just hate him now. That's kind of sad.
I don't think that's a.
I just don't
as
get excited.
as a minority opinion as we might think, though. I think
Yeah.
it's. I don't know, Johnny Depp being the weird caddy that he is, and the Pirates movie not doing so hot, and just hearing his backstory and what he's doing in life now.
Oh yeah, he's up to some rough
blowing
business in
through
life.
his money. Yeah, it's just. Oh man, like $2 million a month he's spending is what I heard. The figure I heard.
Well, it was he's jamming like $30,000 a month just on wine.
His marriage falling apart like that. All the domestic
Just on
abuse,
wine, dude. He's a baller. Okay,
allegations.
Johnny Depp is balling out. That's what's going on with him, and that's fine.
It's just.
Okay.
That's fine. It just
fine.
it could translate to some better movies. That'd be nice.
It will. We'll get there. We'll
What
get there with some
movie
better
would it be,
movies.
Jonah? What movie would it be?
Maybe it'll be this one. I don't know.
never know.
He's
He's doing a Dumbo movie with Tim Burton. What a horrible idea.
Is he
There it
for
is.
sure going to be in the Dumbo
Of course
movie?
he is.
There is his reborn acting
I hope
self.
he plays Dumbo under like a shit ton of makeup. I want it to be no CGI. Make it happen.
Live action.
Live action. Well, it is
Live action Dumbo. Johnny Depp.
I hate Tim Burton too.
Though, if you're going to have a live action Dumbo, is there an actor besides Johnny Depp you want playing it? Could even Daniel Day-Lewis come from the spawn of acting and pull that off?
Find a way.
Yeah.
You need like a decade to method.
Yeah.
You know, to get that. Live in a cabin somewhere to get that figured out. But
Yep.
Oh my god, you guys are terrible. Okay, so Murder on the Orient Express. I will give the trailer a B. It looks highly intriguing, and then of course the last one, another film we've already talked about, Kingsman: The Golden Circle. This is the new age Bond. It looked great. I gave the trailer an A. Matthew Vaughn, impressive.
Yep.
The first film was great, and this one shouldn't be any less. Now, I noticed in there was they keyed in on the Statesman badge. And I don't recall, did we encounter the Statesman in the first Kingsman film? So I'm presuming
it's just the same. It's just the United
States version of the Kingsman.
Yeah.
Super cool, though. I didn't notice that actually in previous trailers, so maybe there is some small benefit to watching these trailers repetitiously. So circling back to War for the Planet of the Apes, everybody, those were your trailers. Thanks for bearing with us through that. The opening crawl was powerful. I mean, it was really good. They set up the intensity right off the gates. Like, they really set up this somber, kind of scary, very everything is on the line for these people. They're creeping up in the jungle. They're approaching the apes, and it was just beautiful how they captured the cinematography of
that tracking shot was
That
so
was great.
fucking impressive.
Yep.
Yes.
That was great.
Just immediately, like, you're just above. That was one of the best shots in the whole movie. Just that opening tracking shot. That was beautiful.
It was great, and these are and again, real quick before we go too much further, if you're watching or listening, we will eventually get into some spoiler territory for the film. So whenever we talk about these films, we don't stray away from the spoilers. So you've been warned. It was really vile in some ways to see the soldiers obviously how dirty and grimy they were, and they all had like Ape Killer on their
little nicknames on
the little nicknames written in white on the back of their helmets. It almost like immediately you feel these guys are the villains, and I'm fucking human, and they're going against the apes. In the original Planet of the Apes movies, there was no question. I hated the apes.
Mm-hmm.
The originals that came out decades ago. At no point have I really. The only time I've been mad at any apes in this film is when they were fighting against or betraying their own kind.
Yep.
But otherwise, you're just set up so sympathetically toward the apes, and that opening tracking shot was powerful, and they launched the initial assault onto the defense position of
apes compound there.
Whoa, yeah. And it seems like initially it was explosions and it's going great, and things are all bad. And then, holy crap.
The turnaround there happened within suddenly.
Yeah, the whole tide turns. The reinforcement for the apes show up out of nowhere and just completely obliterate the humans that are trying to push through.
Well, yeah, they used the crazy smoke grenades, and then it was just a rain of spears, and it was fucking over for these humans. And which opens up one of the first big questions I had in the movie is that time and again, if you've watched this trilogy now. Caesar, that's the lead ape, played by Andy Serkis, quite amazingly.
Yeah, great performance.
Right. I love how measured each of his words are as he speaks. It's just very fine and concise, measured. And his forgiveness was kind of the downfall of him throughout this whole trilogy in many ways.
Mm-hmm. Constantly backfires on him the entire way through.
Yeah, he has this investment to humans because he was created by a human, and James Franco's character from Rise, where he has this love of humans deep in his heart, but he's conflicted with that throughout the whole trilogy, and that's where he gets his forgiveness, where he won't kill.
He's just trying to figure out how to survive.
Yeah,
and he figures, well, if I can, be the better.
If I could show you,
be the better person.
We want to just live in peace. We don't mean to harm you. We're simply defending our own territory. Is what he's trying to explain. But
it makes sense. But you knew right away. He said they capture some soldiers and he sets them free. And I was like, dude, bad fucking mistake. And his that forgiving moment cost him the lives of his wife and kid. Boom, right out the gates. Yeah. Dude, so that was the other crazy thing is this movie it's landing knockout punches early.
Yeah.
With some of its how it moved the story so swiftly. I didn't anticipate such a brazen assault right away, but I did notice when they all gathered that one white ape, the one white ape who they call he was scared and they called him Winter, and when all the apes put their hands together and said "Apes stronger together," I noticed immediately in that he was not doing it, which obviously tipped the hats, he betrays them, but definitely didn't expect Caesar's wife and kid to be murdered in the first 15 minutes of the movie.
It landed some heavy notes right away, and I was like, man, we are in this right away.
It's a chain of events in the...
Yep.
Dude, they were blasting off with emotional happenings right away. That again, was not expected. You sort of thought things would be a little more drawn out between the Colonel coming there and which played by Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson does such a fantastic job. Yeah. He's a great villain. I need to see him as a villain more often.
Oh yeah, he's been a villain a few times now, and he's always the man for the job. He's just Woody Harrelson's one of those guys at this point where if he's in a movie,
he's kind of been.
You can sell me if Woody Harrelson's in your movie.
He's been priming for a while, hasn't he?
Not always like a major character, but he's he's. Whatever role he is supporting or otherwise, he hasn't let us down in a while, and that's same here. Great villain.
So in setting up the intimacy factor of the film overall, the tone of War for the Planet of the Apes, I'm telling you guys, it was fucking grim. It's a somber movie, and I don't mean that in a bad way by any way, shape, or form, but humans are dying everywhere. You learn eventually that they're fighting amongst themselves like a bunch of assholes. Of course, like they're about to like literally no longer be the dominant species on the planet, and we're still fighting with each other. We'll get to that later, but it just it brought you in real quick that this is a sad world. Everybody's fucking depressed because life sucks and it's hard and it's miserable and we're barely surviving on both the human and the ape end.
I mean, at
right?
this point in the and especially in the third movie, there's like the movies are done with the human perspective, like entirely. They're like, yeah, humanity ruined, like they're fucked and they're shitty, and the apes, they're just trying to like all they want to do is survive.
And he tries to make peace several times.
And just humanity at this point, there's nothing. They're pretty much, there's like not much, not even any redemption possible.
So, at any point in time, were you guys feeling sympathetic for the human cause during this film?
It's interesting because we are looking at what's left of the U.S. Army, and we've come to find out later that the humans are going to end up dying anyway. And so they're trying to...
Kinda. I mean, there's another plague, basically.
Yeah, and they're talking about if they wipe out the apes, then maybe they could stop the spread of this new virus. However, that proves to be a...
Yeah, dude,
there's
that
some layers
was...
to that.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
With how they ended up fighting each other, the human factions, and...
This is a great angle in the film, by the way.
Harrelson's, like, the splitting point, because once that new virus comes into play... The disagreement over how Woody Harrelson's like, we have to, when we see that someone has it, we have to kill them immediately.
Yep.
And
they bring that point home really quick.
And that's kind of
where
they did you did get a little bit
Woody
of
Harrelson
sympathy,
murdered his own kid, guys.
A little bit of sympathy
like,
for
what a scummer.
For that character thing. And that's like where the
momentary
where you understand why humanity, like at this point they're on their last legs, and it's just, and Woody Harrelson's character, the Colonel, he's right. It's like it's either us, or you. We have to. If you guys are gonna become, you're better. Like you're strong. Like you're stronger, getting smarter than us. Like it's gonna be either we wipe you out or we're not gonna make it.
We will not be.
It's just that human instinct, knowing you see that superior.
You can identify that. Yeah, this is technically a superior being in many ways. The apes against the humans. So, yeah, in Woody Harrelson and the divide between the human factions was a really pleasant surprise in the screenplay that I didn't expect it. Really, I didn't expect it. You think that was the script was really intelligent in how. It led you to believe a lot of things were one way, and it was very directional. It guided you in one direction, and then shifted gears on you, and was really surprising on several occasions. Again, if you are listening out there, this is our reactions to War for Planet of the Apes. If you're digging what you hear, please do share it live or share it after the fact. We love all of your interactions and comments. If you've seen the movie, feel free to drop your thoughts on the show link, and we'll do our best to get back to you and kind of help work you into the show as best as we can. But that was the crazy thing is in this film, they present a new plague, and the new plague is dehumanizing people to a degree where they're becoming unintelligent. They're losing the ability to speak, and they are going backwards. Essentially, it's some sort of mind-altering plague.
You lose all higher functions in terms of intelligence.
Exactly. You lose higher functions.
It's not like
of intelligence.
They're still. I don't know what you could, like, maybe like a dog or something, or just a lesser animal that doesn't.
Because they still have a functional intelligence, but you can't really think or remember or articulate. Like it was really fascinating. And Woody Harrelson as the villain believes that this additional plague will be the complete undoing of all of humanity, and basically begins killing everybody that gets this fucking disease. Soon as they show signs, dead. Boom. Would you guys do that? Is that your survival method, James? I know you're not. You're a scientist. You're like, no, I want.
Well, I mean,
if it's between if it's proven this virus is going to spread, what other choice do you have?
To play devil's advocate, it's like I don't necessarily.
I probably wouldn't do it myself, but I would delegate.
Considering like what the stakes were at that point, and
the stakes were high. You're talking about the in Woody Harrelson's mind, and I'm trying to. He was a badass motherfucker, and I'm just trying to like picture his point of view in this. He felt like he was saving humanity. Like this was his
It was the
goal.
only way
It was.
when-
I loved his. His link backs to
Yeah.
all these great generals and their opposing antagonists.
Great standoffs throughout history.
He said, "This is
moments.
my mark in history," and I think he even saw writing on the walls in the base, history.
Yeah, he was
history.
going a little,
just a little bit senile.
a little crazy there.
Yeah.
It's taking
Oh,
its
yeah.
toll. The whole,
Hey man, the apocalypse is a tough world.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's about 15 to 20 years that span these three films,
so,
roughly.
yeah.
It's about that.
You
so
see that Caesar's grayed up now. You tell
Yep.
he's much
Yep.
older than he was in Dawn, and he's grayed. That's the first thing I noticed is how they've aged
How gray he
Caesar.
was.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
He aged him. He's like this. And another thing I noticed at the start of the film was I wanted to know how committed the group was to Caesar as their leader, and it was proven quickly that that group will follow him to the
Yeah.
death.
yeah,
A lot of the great,
as well they should.
yeah,
As well they
great
should.
moments involve like his ability to rally. They rally
Yeah.
around him, and how much they need him.
In the grimmest of scenarios.
He's able to, they're able to find something to,
Is it weird that? And I guess that's it's the magic of cinema. But is it not? Does it not feel like strange to cheer or feel an emotional connection to these apes? Like it was so well done and well written, and I found myself like, I'm a person, and these are like talking monkeys, and I'm like getting emotionally charged or fueled or connected. That's a powerful thing.
Well, what they did, one other scene I loved was the exchange between, I think it was the colonel who stared into the eyes of Caesar and said, "Man, look at your eyes. You're almost human."
almost.
And I was like, that had a connection to me. Like, yeah,
Absolutely.
that's why like I feel like I'm relating to these apes
Well,
because
the point is they're
yeah,
just
they
as
bring
good as
them
they're not.
to
We're
the-
not better in this
Yeah.
scenario. The human, they're not better. The apes are
'Cause
just
the
as
apes
good,
were not
and
evil.
we're still looking at them as like they're somehow inferior. But it's
they're
really
not.
just because they're a
Well,
threat.
that's the other
So-
curious thing about this world is how few of the humans know and understand how intelligent the apes have become. That seems to continue. That's even in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, it was a factor, and again in War for the Planet of the Apes, the humans are continuously surprised at how intelligent the apes are. So it just creates an almost naive situation.
Yeah, very.
Because the apes are pretty naive about some things too, like how closely they followed the humans when they were tracking them. Right? That was like I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah.
They could turn around and see you. That bothered me.
I think
and
they did that just. They wanted that cool shot. That's what I'm thinking. Back I'm like, that's such a cool looking shot. But also like, why are you so close? But like, no, we just need this cool shot here.
It was
That's really
a cool shot. Again, I can't emphasize enough how many cool shots there were. The silhouettes captured many times, the dark silhouettes against the ocean and the sunlight and the skylines. Really good job.
And it's easy to I mean, maybe it's not, but it's like this is one of the visual effects in this movie are arguably some of the best ever. Like it never those are all CGI. Every one of those apes
That's so crazy to me.
are all CGI. That is
Not one single ape
arguably
in costume.
the best CGI visual effects work ever seen, as far as I'm concerned. Like it's flawless. It was the second movie. I remember at the time I was like fucking blown away.
And that was 2012,
Yeah,
5
and it
years
just
ago.
and same thing here. It's like holy shit. How do movies look this good?
Yeah.
That's again
watching-
complete CGI
Remarkable.
creation.
I was
100%.
watching a little short with Andy Serkis about how they actually do the CGI.
Oh, good.
And it's insane how well they capture his movements.
Yeah.
'Cause
'Cause, yeah, they put those-
he does all the
They
actions.
put on the
that's-
suits on
yeah.
everybody with the to capture the animations right.
It's
And
incredible.
The technology they've got to the point where the leaps that it's taken.
Yeah.
You can do that with visual effects. Those movies really set a standard. Have set a standard for that. Like for CGI.
I thought, and I don't want to overspeak, but I thought that Dawn of the Planet of the Apes did get Oscar nominated.
I think it
for
did get
its-
nominated
for
I'm
its
not sure-
special effects.
I'm not sure if it won. It deserved to.
I don't know if it did either, but I'm pretty sure it did get recognition, garner some award recognition, and I have my own opinions about the award ceremonies. But I guess as much as I bag on the awards, I know in my mind I say that it means a lot to the people involved in the work, and I want them, I guess, to be compelled or feel good or feel swell about what they're doing. So if they're winning the awards and that makes them happy, then in turn, I suppose I can be happy as well. What can we do as a society to give Andy Serkis more credit, man? That guy has probably delivered like 3 Oscar performances, but in a CGI suit as a creature.
Yeah, he jokes about that too when you hear him in interviews. He going from Gollum to
Gollum
King
is
Kong.
to King Kong.
Gollum is like one of the biggest Oscar snubs in the history of the Oscars.
Yeah.
Bunch of pricks.
Because when you notice that he did all of those movements,
Yeah.
that's the crazy part about it.
And that was like, again, that was setting trends going for how they would do motion capture.
Of course it
in
was,
film.
yeah.
He was leading. That was all.
His name will forever be tied to that.
Oh, yeah, and
so.
he's kind of working his way up the ladder. I
Some
think.
real films.
Oh yeah.
Well, he's one of the villains.
Yeah, he's playing a villain
in Avengers.
Yep.
But again, very, very just really compelling world and a really compelling storyline with apes, and it's just so rare that I'm cheering against humans in a movie. Seriously,
to this extent, that's the goal.
When the fuck do you cheer against? I mean, yeah, you cheer against a scummy human villain, but like when it's humans versus anything in any other movie, you're not cheering for whatever the humans are facing. Never. You name one. Name one movie you've ever fucking watched where it was humans versus and you were cheering against the humans.
Like aliens or
aliens, fucking zombies, robots, vampires, werewolves, horror people like Jason and Freddy, and however you want to do it, man.
Well,
however you want to slice it.
I'm pretty sure most of the time you want everyone to die because there's annoying shitbags that deserve it.
Fair point. However, or you're never not cheering for people. So it's so compelling to me. When you can, as a writer and a director, bring this CGI rendered world in terms of all these apes to life and make a sympathetic situation in which you were like, you know what, fuck it, humans are bad, we're a goddamn poison. Yeah, get rid of them. I hope the apes make it out of here. I mean, like I said, yeah, at no point was I cheering for the people, and I tried to understand their position, but. And to touch again upon Elijah's point, humans are such stupid assholes. In this movie, they are philosophically opposed to how they two factions are opposed to how they're going to how they handle this virus. Woody Harrelson says, "Kill everybody with the new virus, and kill all the apes will win." This other group of people is like, well, no, there's a medically there's a way we can deal with this.
Cure them or blah blah blah.
Cure them or work with them or whatever the case may be. Keep this disease from spreading because it didn't seem to be airborne. It seemed like a blood-based disease.
Yeah, you find that out basically.
Yes.
You find it out at the end when
how it's transmitted.
Yes.
How
it's transmitted through blood. It looked like.
It's
because he had that girl's
the girl's doll had blood on it.
Yeah,
and,
it did.
Yeah,
it did.
I didn't go into depth about it, but yeah, the point
I would
was
assume
still well made.
Yeah.
But yeah, just thematically, it's so perfect to have that still be humanity's ultimate undoing. Is even in their darkest hour, they still find a reason to kill each other.
Give me chills. Even in our darkest hour.
And that's like even if you're not sure you don't want them, the apes don't deserve. But still, it's like they just like even when you're like, oh yeah, we got it. These apes are a problem. They're still like find a way to.
They're essentially caught in the middle of this.
That's the angle
placed right in the middle.
I didn't expect, and I did dig that I thought this was going to be more of a back and forth battle between the ape, and then it kind of turns out the main problem the humans had was that they were fucking still killing each other.
Yeah,
and
And I would also point out these films, for anybody who is a long-standing fan of the Planet of the Apes films, from the originals to the modern films, sans the Mark Wahlberg one, which we will not talk any further about. But this trilogy takes place prior to all of the original movies from the 70s. Right? That's factual. This is literally
supposed to set up how.
Right.
I mean, the purpose was because like you mentioned, in the original movies, you're like, oh shit, humanity's been enslaved by apes, and you're totally cheering for humanity to.
You were. The apes were dicks in that original one, especially that orange-haired asshole. That orange-haired ape from the original one was such a prick.
And the whole purpose of this trilogy was to flip the script on that and show you the other side, basically, and ultimately lead you to be like, well, fuck.
How did they get
humans.
there? Yeah.
Yeah, very, very intelligently done. And what about the beautiful irony at the end? Did you guys see that coming? You know what I'm talking about?
You mean with the way the
Colonel's demise?
Oh, well, yeah.
Was that
was
surprising to you?
No, it made perfect sense that
it made
would be,
sense.
Yeah.
But were you like I didn't see that coming? I did not. I was like, holy.
I should
fuck.
have realized. I feel dumb for not like because he goes over and picks up that doll.
Yes.
It's been like, oh, that's it.
Yeah, I should have. Yeah, I don't know why. I remember they see the doll after he's laying there ill, and I'm like, how did I not see that coming?
Because they specifically showed that doll in the beginning, like or earlier in the film. There was kind of an intimate moment between her and Marcus or Maurice.
Yeah.
The awesome ape Maurice, and so. They made it a point to show you this doll would probably be significant. That was some brilliant foreshadowing. There was
That was an excellent scene.
A lot of really intelligent foreshadowing.
Yeah.
It was an excellent scene.
Between Maurice and the girl, man, that was good.
Mm-hmm. How emotionally resonant was the scene for you where the one large ape dies and the girl put the flower on him?
Well, it really...
I was fucking like welling up.
She gets emotional. It's saying that they're coming together, even humans and apes share the common goal.
It was part of like her whole arc is like kind of secret back in the background, like really fascinating.
She's like their secret weapon in a way.
Yeah, she ends up being very just seeing how when you
she killed the colonel. She killed the colonel.
Yeah,
and how she basically just has to just be redeveloped.
On the subject of the girl, maybe my biggest problem with the movie was how nonchalantly she was able to walk into the base.
They did that a couple times there during where it seemed like how did
a bit of a and being constructive here. Obviously, I like
these are the types of things that kind of
a trope.
Are inevitable.
It's a trope. Is it a trope?
Any summer block, but I'm just saying in general when you gotta there's going to be these little things that kind of like stretch your
plot hole. Oh,
yeah.
Major plot hole.
Major, but yeah, the fact that
she sneaks into a highly guarded military compound. Wait, no, she didn't sneak in. She walked. She waltzed in.
Walked right down Main Street. Just, I don't know if they were trying to portray how naive the humans were.
I do think that now you're right. The humans, they're tired, they're overworked, they're naive, a little bit arrogant in where they are.
Yeah, just because. When you find out that they're preparing for an attack, though, that could come at any moment,
you're
not even guard. Then when the apes do their grand escape, there's one dude on duty that they got to take care of, and then they can all.
The escape was so simple.
There's like maybe how many apes are like? There's like 100 or so, maybe.
Because the apes are eventually captured. I appreciated, and this was another major tip of my hat I'll give to the screenplay. Where the facility where these humans were setting up their base of operations was formerly a quarantine zone, and they were quarantining humans who had the new plague that was altering human functionality. Obviously, you'd later find out as the apes were trying to infiltrate their way in and save their friends, these humans had escaped. They had dug their little tunnels out. And I felt like that was really a really natural fit to lending to how the apes escaped. It wasn't hokey. It wasn't because I was watching like, well, obviously these last couple apes are going to help them find a way to escape. But you always think it's going to be something like, oh, they're going to just sneak in and take a couple guys out and then this and that. And they did a little bit, but at least there was this precursor story of using tunnels and holes and functionality that was put there by humans who were escaping quarantine. Mm-hmm. I felt like that was just really intelligent story writing.
I like the way they came up with their plan, the way they all coordinated there. Once they realized they had some people on the outside, I liked the way they came up with their plan.
The apes coordinating with one another, again, an underestimation by the humans.
All the sign language.
Because the humans don't know sign language.
Yeah.
They don't know it.
Your average human is not,
No, come on. How many fucking people do you know that know sign language?
Well,
James,
No.
you're the teacher here.
Yeah,
Come on.
If anybody,
If anybody present knows somebody who knows sign language, it's
Not
you.
me.
And, okay, so yeah, the apes being able to communicate effectively with one another in secret code like that to help fuel and assist in their escape. Really, really good. Really well done. Very suspenseful. Very, very suspenseful. I felt my heart racing a lot, but just how kind of thematic some of these moments were, and the choice in camera shots, and the score. The score was really good.
I actually when I got in my car leaving the theater, I went and because I have Amazon Prime, so I went and bought the end title.
You knew that was.
Music. I was like,
yeah.
dang, that was
Good for you,
I
dude.
love
That's
a good
awesome.
soundtrack.
Oh, yeah,
I
I
love
did.
a good soundtrack song, and I play it while I'm like working and stuff. You know,
Oh,
just
yeah.
got
That's-
background noise. So love it.
The pacing of this movie was spot on. Were other moments that you guys would call out for either didn't work or did work greatly that I've missed that we haven't covered yet? Just
The big one was the girl walking in.
Yeah.
That was the girl walking in.
for like a glaring
And
omission kind of fuck up.
I didn't think they hit hard enough. Because their original plan doesn't work. They were going to tunnel to the younger ones.
Yeah, but then they're like,
They didn't hit that very hard and explain it.
How the
well
fuck
enough.
do they get out of there so easy?
Yeah, they didn't.
That's the only thing.
Because it was going to flood. It was going to flood. They
if
realized.
they kept digging more.
Right, if they kept digging, but
Yes.
you would just like Elijah pointed out. These are humans in a fucking bunker, a fortified war position, waiting to be attacked, and you would just think there'd be people on patrol everywhere,
Right.
dudes
More
man
than
in the
one.
towers,
Yeah.
and
Got
so
one dude.
if I was picking on the movie a little bit, although I liked how the apes honed. They honed in a great plan and worked together
Yeah.
to initiate that plan.
It just was by that time the movie was ready to move into this, so it just
Yes.
kind of like one of those things. We got to move things along now, and it's always funny because for the nights that you spend at the camp there, and you've like Woody Harrelson's character is like looming out of that fucking his little balcony like all the time. So it's like the fact that he got infected when he did, he probably would have seen that shit happen if he hadn't been succumbing to infection.
Okay.
At that evening.
Well, and yeah, so if he's essentially like, he's succumbing to infection, so maybe he was not issuing as many orders for awareness and just making sure all of his dudes were on point, and like you said, wasn't looming about because he's fucking dying to the infection that he himself was. Basically, he murdered his own son.
And he wanted it. He took himself out, but he's like wanted Caesar. That was cool too. That Caesar would be like, "Nah, you're already toast. No need to." If anything, it would have been cool if his character survived altogether and had to function as
well. And again, how well the screenplay lends itself to everything happening on film, and just how well it was written with the position of that base near a mountain. Makes sense. There are factually many mountain bases like that around our country, but it was awesome in the end. after that was a surprise to me. I was like, because I was wondering, there's the two warring factions of people, and the one human army from the north comes in, kind of kicks most of the ass, but there was massive explosions and warfare, and there was a couple of gas tankers that blow up, and the winning army is all left standing there, hundreds and hundreds, if not even thousands.
yeah.
It was a large force.
It was and you are led to believe in the movie this is at least on the western seaboard where this takes place. This is all that they know. This is all the humanity left up in that area, man.
Yeah,
The military forces.
Yeah, they
The
stressed at the
military.
beginning like this is all the U.S. Army that's left.
Did they say that?
Yep.
It was mentioned that in the little
The opening monologue.
the
Okay.
little
They mentioned,
scribble.
like, the
They
rest
said
of the-
that they
yeah.
got called in. The last
of
active
the U.S. Army got called in from the north to deal with
these apes,
Yep.
and then that they
Right,
split
but
up and
I
started
would
fighting each other.
I would also assume that the eastern seaboard does not have contact with the western seaboard. At least, and they don't go into that in the movie. I'm just
Yeah,
drawing
no,
my
no,
own
they-
conclusions. I would believe this was the remaining tactical army forces on the east coast or on the west coast.
Coast,
Excuse me. Maybe there's more in the east.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But the movie does nothing to tell you that there is. Although I would just have reason to believe it would make sense that there are. So at the end of this, all the explosions, massive fucking avalanche happens and takes out the human army, and it's just the apes left. Planet of the Apes.
They can climb
baby.
trees.
Yep.
Yeah. They escape by getting to the tops of a bunch of trees. It was actually really cool, and that was maybe my other point of contention with how something was handled a little bit toward the end. Why the fuck were all the apes caught in between the two armies? Why didn't they escape up the
That
mountain
was
in
a
the
little
first
weird
place?
that they.
I was like, what are you guys
I wanna
doing
know
there?
how did they get there? Because all of a sudden, Caesar looks up and his apes are getting destroyed.
Well,
because they're
yeah,
in the
I'm
middle
like-
of the two armies.
all the kids got up the side of the mountain. Why didn't the adults? So that was like a little bit to me. I was like, well, what the fuck? Why aren't you guys up there? Again, nitpicking a little bit, but it jumped out to me in my mind as I'm watching the movie. I'm like, you
It
guys.
set up the end of the movie.
Contrivances that were necessary to fulfill some
Because
emotional.
if Caesar
plot
didn't see that, he wouldn't have done what he did to blow up the tankers and.
So, I was waiting for Caesar to die the whole movie, and then I thought maybe he wouldn't. Were you guys expecting his death in the end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of thought going into the movie, I'm like, I feel like the most touching way to end this trilogy is the apes get out, end in peace, and Caesar passes away from something. I didn't know what it would be, but he almost got. I kind of thought he was going to get away after a while.
And again, exactly, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I started to wonder if he would get away, and again, it was his forgiveness that cost him his own life. The same fucking guy. The guy that he let go away. And
bastard.
like, it just had me wondering, man, if I'm ever grudging with somebody, I just don't know, man. Maybe forgiveness is bullshit, man, because I'm watching it in this film, and it did nothing but forgiveness cost him nothing but lives and friends and family, and then eventually his own life. Again, like the very asshole that he let escape was the one that fucking shot him. And there's been those other ironies like that have been prevalent throughout many films, but that in some ways I was pretty bummed out for him that's what cost him his life.
I mean, it was appropriate that would be, though. I mean, just him dying at the end like that, like suffering through that injury for who knows how long.
The injury and the beatings and the lashing and the lack of food and water.
So he was probably already on the brink of, but he just was toughing it out. He had to get his people to home somewhere safe, and then he finally was able to, like, all right, I've done everything I can do. I'm out.
Definitely an interesting hero. All right, guys. So closing thoughts and final grade on an A to F scale. Plus or minuses are welcome. Final thoughts and grade of the film, Elijah.
One last shout out. We didn't discuss the only comic relief the movie had, and much needed.
Yes.
Bad Ape. Is that what we're supposed to? Because I don't think they ever give him a name.
I don't.
They don't.
He just call it because he introduces himself too as Bad. That
Yeah.
a welcome. Yeah, he's one of the MVPs of the movie there on the side.
Yep, side character MVP. There was a funny little ape they find, who was an escapee from the zoo, and he was the only sort of comic relief in the film whatsoever. And dude, I don't think you watch like the first 45 minutes of that movie. There's not a single fucking laughing or smiling moment. This is a grim movie. Like, make no mistake about it. It's suspenseful.
Props for a summer blockbuster to go kind of full.
It was dark.
Full tilt with it.
Lives
Like,
up to
this
the
is
name
not
more.
this
It lives up
is
to
not
the
going to
name.
be. But I'm glad they had a bad ape show up to give us a few laughs.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, Mike Annis, thanks for the comment. Mercy, stay away, man. It's fucking poison. It is. In at least in storytelling, mercy from a heroic character always ends badly
every
for
time.
them.
It's terrible.
Fuck Ned Stark, right? Every idiot Stark. I don't know, but like Mercy, if you're in war. I just don't know if I'm in the apocalypse. I don't know if I can have mercy in the apocalypse.
You better not. No, I think that.
What do you guys think? Question: would you carry mercy with you into the apocalypse?
No,
I would
it's
hope
it's
you'd be
survival
able-
of the fittest.
James, really?
You can say that.
If I'm
You little
facing
third
down-
graders?
If I'm facing, all right, if we are faced in an apocalypse scenario, yep, I'm giving them that advice. You know,
But
we have to band together.
No
as,
mercy.
So you say like, okay, no mercy, but you don't like. It's that's what makes it such a fun concept to play with. If faced in that scenario, do you really know what you'd be able to do? If like,
No,
would you be able to strip away your humanity?
But like,
to
you
that
gotta be
level?
smarter. Like, what if I turn this military guy loose? It's humans versus apes. If I turn this human loose, and I'm sending him back to his army. What's he gonna do?
Exactly.
He was still being a little. He didn't realize what he was up against in terms of how.
Well, yeah, maybe a little
desperation and
little naiveness on his part.
Because yeah, he didn't.
They should've
he knew that continuing to.
They should
fight
have just
and
fucking killed those guys
Yeah.
and went and hid. Period. Fuck them. And then his own apes. How much did it bother you? The betrayal of the ape against ape betrayal really bothered the fuck out of me. Because not only are there apes who are betraying their own kind, but then the humans just completely denigrate them. Call them donkey.
Yeah.
They fucking brand them and write donkey on them. And they are literally apes that have turned against their own kind and are treated like fucking savages, like nothing by the humans.
I like the way they established that, though, by calling into the events from the past movie that these were all apes that were certain that they
were
had
loyal.
no place. Well, not that
They had no place within their own
They
society.
believed they had no place going
that's
back
true.
to Caesar.
And Caesar was so merciful.
And see,
of
that's the
course
sad
they would
part,
have.
'cause
That is the
he
sad
would've.
part. Yeah.
But they were scared at that point. We're like, well, fuck, we
'cause-
can't go back. Our guy
'cause
lost. So.
Primally, that's how animals are. Like primally, then like that's kind of how it would go down if you were loyal to the one who didn't, loyal to the one who doesn't win the battle.
Yeah.
I did find it weird that when Kobo was ruling that faction of apes that were against what Caesar was doing, that they hated humans so much, and now they turned all that hate towards Caesar.
Survival.
Yeah, it's a survival instinct, but it was interesting.
Sure.
It was interesting it got to me like, man, they hate Caesar that much, and they were that afraid to go back that they banded together the things that they originally hated all along.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, in human history, you pick the wrong side, you end up in
You
the
end
aftermath.
up
You don't
death,
feel like
yeah.
you're in a good spot. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, a lot of again, very intelligent script, a lot of intelligent social parallels, and I guess the play on mercy and forgiveness and human nature was also in many times ape nature. There was of course a lot of synonyms or a lot of parallels, if you will, between the two. Final grade, Elijah.
I give it a solid B.
Solid B.
Yeah.
Final grade, James.
I'm also going to give it a solid B.
Wow, solid B from both you guys. I'm giving it a solid A minus. I just don't find enough to nitpick against it to give it as anything less than that A minus. It hit the emotional strings for me. The cinematically, it was beautiful and well shot. The special effects were on point. The score was all encompassing and kept the pace of the film really well. And the suspenseful moments where you didn't know really what was going to happen next as everything played out. So I'm giving it overall an A minus. And next week, of course, we'll be back on the show, and hopefully we'll be giving you a bit of a 1-2 punch and discussing both Valerian and Dunkirk. But we do have some other things we want to talk about on this show today. Namely, since this was a trilogy, I had the dudes, the gentlemen. We all did some research, and we pointed out a little bit on our last show. And if you watched live, or you've seen this when we talked about Spider-Man: Homecoming, how often a trilogy is fucked up, where the third film is the weakest, or if not the weakest, just really bad. So, and that is historically, that is the case more often than not. When you're looking at any group of films that come in three, the third one, I'm sorry, it just rarely is the best one, and oftentimes it's simply not good at all. So we wanted to highlight a couple of trilogies that did work, where all three films were fantastic, where the third film was not a drastic step down from its predecessors. And I would just real quickly, I would eschew this War of the Planet of the Apes into that group. Some might argue that Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was better. I wouldn't staunchly argue for one or the other in that realm. However, War for the Planet of the Apes was not a drastic step down. If you were going to make that argument,
it's a solid trilogy.
Solid trilogy.
They didn't fuck anything up. And what more can you ask for? With so many, disappointing trilogies.
For sure. I thought when Elijah asked me the question right when we walked into the house, like, so did you like Dawn better? And if I have to think about it as hard as I had to think about that, it's not a step down to me. I was emotionally invested this entire movie.
Yeah, James and I watched Dawn of the Planet of the Apes both yesterday.
Yep.
Prior to going into this today. So I definitely can't say I liked it better, but I certainly liked it equally.
It's on an equal footing, I'd say. I was emotionally invested in both those movies.
Yeah, and I wasn't. I wasn't expecting as high a level of an emotional connection as I was within War for the Planet of the Apes. So trilogies that did get it right. Obviously, this one did, as we're very happy to point out. What did you guys bring to the table today, Elijah?
We share some similarities here. So
a few
trilogies that didn't fuck up their third film.
The first, I'll name the ones that aren't necessarily okay, because one is familiar with the Sergio Leone sort of trilogy, the Clint Eastwood trilogy.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The Man with No Name.
That's the third one.
The Man with No Name.
The Man with No Name trilogy. It's not technically a connected.
It wasn't written
stories,
as a trilogy, but it's considered a trilogy.
Exactly. And
what are the other two films? Pale Rider.
No, I can't remember the names of the other two movies off the top of my head. I have but I know the Good and the Bad, the Ugly is
the third one,
and that's one of the best movies of all time. So yeah, I'd say that's successful.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is a great movie. I'm really glad to hear you say that.
It's one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah, I actually that's the only one of those I've seen, so I'm not sure if that's. I had no.
The other two are great, but yeah, the Good, the Bad, the Ugly is like that.
Yeah, I've never. I watched it because it was
it's like the
to
Pale
me,
Rider.
I have not seen the other two. I did not know that was a trilogy, or even thought of it as one.
Well, it is. Yeah, no, it's because he had for a few dollars more. Yep. It's Man with No Name. It's a Man with No Name trilogy.
Yes.
It's a fistful of dollars for a few dollars more, and the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Why it's a trilogy? Because
it is phenomenal.
They're
phenomenal.
The Man with No Name's character.
I have goosebumps just thinking about those movies right now.
I'll have to watch those this week.
So
yeah,
dude, I can't.
They still hold up.
Oh my!
They still hold up so
good.
good.
Bad, like those type of westerns.
I've noticed a lot of Eastwood movies hold up.
Eastwood has had one of the most incredible careers.
Yeah, his career arc is awesome. I'm really glad. I never would have expected when I was thinking about trilogies. I never would have expected that one to come up. I'm really stoked that you brought that to the table. All right, James, jump in there. What do you got?
I have Die Hard with Vengeance. I think it's a decently obvious one.
Man,
I love that movie so much.
Die Hard ended as a trilogy. Okay, no,
that was it. We're not acknowledging any other further movies.
Good day to Die Hard.
No,
crap
get out.
Here.
No, there isn't. Good day to crap. Good day to crap hard.
Yeah. Especially after the second movie was a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah,
it was decent, but it felt like it was just retracing the first one's steps. But it's in an airport.
Like, if anything, the fucking Die Hard trilogy. The second film is the rare moment that it's the weakest.
Yeah, and then the third one bounces back.
Because you could argue, even if in the situations where a trilogy was entirely successful, oftentimes people still argue in favor of the second movie as the best one, even in the working trilogies.
It happens a lot, yeah.
It happens a lot. Matrix and Star Wars are both pretty good examples. Mm-hmm. Most people put the second film in each of those as the best one. So yeah, I think that's a very good example. I love Die Hard with a Vengeance. Watching Bruce Willis throughout the 90s be a mostly drunk, always hungover, fucking grumpy, witty, dickhead, save the world cop. Mm-hmm. I love it. Die Hard work. I'm in. Mm-hmm. I'm in. What do you got? What else?
Your turn.
What else we got, Elijah?
Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
That's a good example.
That's another similar. It's very similar to the Man with No Name trilogy. That's all those two before that, El Mariachi and
El Mariachi, Desperado,
Yes,
and
exactly.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
and Once Upon a Time in Mexico is the third.
Haven't seen
and
this
last
for a long
movie.
time.
Wow.
But really good.
But that is that's one that
That's an unofficial trilogy.
I don't. Because again, they all have Antonio Banderas' character is like the center. That's the character that keeps coming back in these movies. So it's kind of that's the way the Man with No Name
Desperado
is.
was awesome.
Yeah, those
I
are
think-
ones
I
I
liked
need to
all
revisit.
those. Yeah.
But
That was where
another-
like Antonio Banderas was my shit
in
back
his
the day,
heyday.
too.
Yeah,
in
he had
his
a nice-
heyday, he had a nice
great
run.
He
had
did
a great
have
run.
a great run. And that
Antonio
trilogy,
Banderas, great run.
That trilogy is probably his finest hours. in those
His
movies.
finest hours.
Getting to be an action badass.
All right,
for sure.
bounce back over to Big J.
I'm gonna go with Batman: The Dark Knight Rises for the simple
Ooh,
Well, I'm in the minority, so I don't.
Well,
I
I
can't really. Like,
I'm in a
the Dark Knight trilogy.
I'm of the opinion that the Dark Knight wouldn't have been as good if Joker weren't as good as he was.
Mike Annis wants to come in and jump in. He's telling us El Mariachi is official. That is technically an official trilogy. So, unlike perhaps the unofficial Pale Rider trilogy or the Man with No Name trilogy, excuse me. Anyways, keep going.
Well, I just feel like the Dark Knight's obviously the one people want to point to as the best movie in that trilogy. But I felt like without Joker's performance, that movie wouldn't have been near as looked at.
it's fair, but
It's too easy to say.
We had the Joker, so
We did have
good.
the Joker.
I thought the overall movie was better in the last of the three.
It definitely works undeniably in terms of
Because,
just,
like,
just representing a trilogy that didn't fuck up their third film.
But like
you're not wrong.
I look at the Dark Knight and like the scenes that the Joker was not involved, I could take or leave. Like I was not very invested in those scenes, but the scenes that Joker was in, I was like, oh yeah, let's get more of this.
Well, I
please.
think it was probably harder to be invested in Christian Bale in a lot of ways. He just wasn't the best Bruce Wayne, honestly.
I thought that was the only.
Bale was the weakest Bruce Wayne of any Batman.
I thought he was the weakest. I thought his Bruce Wayne was like fine. I couldn't stand
his Wayne was fine.
His bat
Batman
voice.
was,
Why the bat voice? I'll never understand that. Like he's choking on glass as he chokes out every word.
Did not mind his Wayne. I never understood.
It felt the bat voice just felt unnecessary.
Here's the deal: if you're a billionaire, you don't need to do that voice. You could just have something that altered your voice in your suit or
but
something.
But instead, and it sounds like he's struggling.
If he can get that,
wait, let me smoke another cigarette and take a shot of whiskey before I talk here.
if he can get that knee brace at the beginning of Dark Knight Rises, it like fixes his cartilage damaged knee, he can do that.
Sure.
Remember that knee brace at the beginning of the third movie? That he just like randomly, he's like, yeah, I'm back.
He was like crippled, and then he was cool. Again, I have some. It's a movie, okay, because I feel like I need to revisit that. I have such a problem revisiting movies I didn't enjoy though. I'm rotten about that. Like I see a movie that I did, and then
Elijah had some pretty strong feelings of disfavor towards The Dark Knight Rises.
I don't think very highly of it. I need to. Force
Do you
myself
really
to
think
rewatch
it's worse than Batman Begins? Because I didn't, dude. I didn't even like Batman Begins.
I thought Batman Begins was good for the first half, and then after he
Batman Begins
Batman,
was awful. I'm surprised.
Awful?
I'm surprised. I'm surprised they even got a green lit for a second film after
Jesus.
Batman Begins.
Like,
That's
again,
how I felt about Batman Begins.
and that's kind of why I have this. Yeah, I feel like I love The Dark Knight, but I love it because of the Joker. I'll admit that. But and I love Nolan as a filmmaker.
A good villain makes
Nolan.
it, dude.
Yeah.
But I definitely would say I love all of Nolan's other movies more than, for the most part, except for Dark Knight. But yeah, I need to, because I saw the midnight showing of Dark Knight Rises, and yeah, I haven't watched it since.
I thought Bane was pretty good. But I just thought overall it was a better movie, and we don't even talk about Batman Begins in that conversation. So it's between The Dark Knight and it's between The Dark Knight Rises.
And again, it's a critically like Dark Knight Rises.
Completely subjective.
Everyone seemed to love it. I felt weird being the guy that didn't.
Oh yeah, Elijah recognizes that he is alone on an island in that opinion, or maybe not that alone, but you are a little bit far removed
There's
from
room. If you want to join me, I'll make some space for you.
I'll make some space. Yeah,
and The Dark Knight Rises.
You're not going to dig a hole in the ground and put a cage over it if I find a plant that I like smoking, will you? Because
Well, society says that's exactly what I should do, apparently, but that's a whole...
If I find a plant on your island that makes me happy when I smoke it,
unacceptable.
Are you gonna like fucking club me over the head with a coconut?
You can only use this to make you happy.
And cage me? Oh no! You can only use my moonshine I'm going to make on the island to make you happy.
Nothing else. And I have a monopoly on
All right,
it.
firm example. All right, Elijah, what do you got for another one? I know you got one more in there, and you got one that I really am impressed with on your list that I would have had on mine as well.
Okay, I'll just go because we don't need to talk like Return of the King. Everyone loves the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We don't need to discuss that.
Yeah,
Everyone loves
I see
that
it in your list.
trilogy.
Like I said, there's some obvious ones.
Yeah.
Obviously, Star Wars
that was
works.
literally
Obviously,
the first
Matrix
one I wrote
works.
down. The Matrix. See, the Matrix didn't make just because when you say a trilogy all the way, that means like 100. Like even though I like Revelations, I feel like it left me wanting more. So I'm like, I'm not including it because
Fair enough.
I want.
Yeah, I would have had it on mine.
Reloaded was so damn good.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. It's tough
Yeah.
to come back from. But okay, let me. Like the Bourne Ultimatum. I love the Bourne trilogy, and I think Bourne Ultimatum left me very satisfied.
That was only a trilogy.
Yeah, at
Right.
the time they've made more
'Cause,
movies
like,
since then.
Mission Impossible's got like 6, so
yeah,
we
see,
can't
those
count
aren't
that.
really because those don't even feel.
That's
They're barely.
They barely feel linked.
Yeah,
It
on,
feels like
on purpose.
Yeah, individual stories being told about the same group of people.
I see the one on your list that I forgot about, and it's the one I know Jonah wants you to bring up.
I do. It's
Yeah.
the one
Let's
that I'm
get that one
super
started. That's
stoked about.
That's a good example.
There's a good
And
one.
it's
Again,
one I
it would have been my
hesitated
list.
on because of the way that the second movie is kind of a weird. Like, hey, let's make this more. We're gonna make this movie again. We're doing the first one again, but it's gonna be more fun. But yeah, Army of Darkness.
Yeah, the Evil Dead trilogy, phenomenal example. Honestly, Army of Darkness was comedy horror.
Yeah.
And it was just so good.
And see,
Sam Raimi's so
The
smart.
first movie was just horror, but then it's like they kind of made that movie, and they're like, "Now let's do this. We need
Let's
to
try
We need
this
to try
thing."
a little bit."
Well, the second one was horror too.
yeah, but they injected.
But they
way
injected
more,
some-
and
just
it made it so much better.
bizarre, dark
I was gonna
humor.
say it was a lot more bizarre in the first one.
Yeah, and then when Army of Darkness came out, I don't think anybody would have expected that. I remember being as a kid when they got sucked into the fucking nether portal or whatever. I was like, oh my god, that was so cool for it to end like that. Whoa, horror movies don't end this way. What the hell happens? You know, like it was the ambiguous ending. You didn't get that very often. I like the ambiguous ending.
Oh yeah,
I do.
Ambiguous endings I'm a big fan of those.
They
leave you something to you're thinking
leave
about
something
it
to
for a
chew on.
while,
yeah.
And if they're good, like they're
Army
not
of Darkness is undeniably
Yeah.
the highlight in that trilogy. It is. They're all
I'd
good.
have trouble
but, like,
picking definitively 2 or 3, but yeah, that's what makes
So
it
good.
again. That the fact that
when people think about Evil Dead and when they quote Evil Dead, it's all from Army of Darkness.
that is true. That's undeniably true. This is my boomstick.
Right. Yeah, this is my boomstick, Klaatu Verata Nikdu, give me some sugar, baby. Like the list goes on. You ain't leader of two. You ain't leader but two things right now: Jack and shit. Jack left town. Like there's so many good
I
lines.
feel
in
bad
that.
having not watched that show that they've made in the recent year. There's a couple seasons out.
Oh,
there.
the star show
I haven't watched.
of Evil Dead or Army of Darkness. I've heard it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've watched 2 episodes of it, and I definitely liked both of my 2 viewings, but I guess didn't find myself pursuing to watch more. Maybe
I feel like
just due
at
to
some
lack of
point
time in general.
that'll be a binger at some point.
I would say too, just for anybody listening or watching, I'm curious your thoughts. A trilogy that worked all the way through. Do you have one that we haven't named? I would actually bet there are quite a few in the horror realm.
Yeah, I'm sure.
where all 3 worked pretty well.
There's usually way more than 3 if it's a horror movie.
Right, that's the other
like
thing too. Is that
25.
usually if you do get into the horror realm, you're getting to like 5 or 6.
That's the difference of thinking about like a trilogy. It's supposed to tell like an all-encompassing in those 3 movies. That is, then it feels
sort of a
complete.
cohesive story.
Like
it's
complete.
complete.
At the end. Like the Apes movie tonight, like that. That felt like the end of a trilogy.
Yes.
Lots of cohesion. Lots of just going back to Koba, and that's what they did. Just watching the 3 movies back to back really this week, I noticed the level of cohesion all 3 of the movies have together, and that's really impressive. Especially when they're spaced out, as when they're made. It was really impressive. That's one thing I noticed right away. It was like, man, this is really cohesive with the previous 2. Well done.
Any other big names to throw out in there in the trilogy world?
I have Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith, the prequels. It's not huge competition, but that was by far the best of those three.
That was the best of the prequels, yeah. I'll give you that.
Yeah, Toy Story
That's
3.
true.
I think Toy Story 3 is the best one out of those.
Huh. I don't know. I give it up to 2, I think. I watched a lot of Toy Story in my day.
I have the nostalgia I have for the first 2 movies is I had fucking those wooden the action figures and
so
shit.
did
I
I.
had toys
Yep.
from that fucking movie.
Yep, so did I.
And so the third movie I liked, but yeah, I still I can't separate. I don't even know if how much I would like those movies going back and watching them now. I don't think I can watch them because I don't want to ruin the nostalgia.
Well, I'm a
'cause
teacher, so I see
Yeah,
Toy
you still
Story
see them all the
1
time? They're still
once,
good,
twice
right?
a year, yeah.
Just tell me they're still good because I can't go
No,
back
Toy
and watch
Story
them.
1 holds up really
Dude,
well.
no, it does. They are still good. They are still good.
Because back then, Pixar was making animation like nobody had ever seen
Oh yeah,
before.
that was ahead of the game.
So
But
that's the animation
that's
still
like
holds.
a level of nostalgia that I can't afford to ruin.
Stay
So
away
I'm not going to rewatch that.
Elijah's not willing to risk his love for Toy Story. That's
I had-
incredible.
yeah.
All right, so trilogies that worked well. Those are some great examples. What about Aliens? Because I thought Alien 3 was good.
I mean,
Was it just such a downgrade from Aliens
It was a
that
massive
there was
downgrade,
there was just nothing? Because
well, it kicks it out of the conversation because I think just because
It was almost a
this was not
standalone
a home
movie.
run.
The problem was that Aliens was so good.
Aliens is too good.
Aliens is
the
one of the
pe-
best action films
The
of all time.
pedestal
Yeah.
was so high
Yeah.
for Aliens 3.
Alien 3 is one I definitely would like to revisit. It has some good stuff in it, but it feels like if that's a trilogy, that really takes the wind out of the sails.
Yeah,
if
I need
that's
to
your
watch.
trilogy.
I need to rewatch Aliens 3, but I don't remember it ever.
I-
nothing
dude-
because Aliens is something I can watch once a month.
Aliens
Yes.
is crazy good, but
And Alien.
Alien 3 was
Alien's
pretty
good too,
powerful,
yeah.
dude. Alien 3, I mean, it jumps out the gates. Main characters are dead within
See, and
minutes.
that was
the
awful.
alien is
That was
preying on
dumb.
people. It was back then, but I don't know. As an adult, as watching it as an adult, I don't know. I can't.
It felt like they.
I wouldn't force it in here as a trilogy that worked, but I do feel that when I look at Alien 3 and I compare it as a trilogy, a third film in a trilogy, to the ones I really don't think worked, like Blade 3 or like X-Men 3 or
the X-Men that came out recently.
or a lot of people, like there's a lot of other examples in that world. The Spider-Man 3, the original Spider-Man 3 movie, like it did not work at all.
I remember really liking. I back when those movies had come out. I'm like Spider-Man 2. That was one of at the time. That was one of my favorite movies ever.
great.
Yep.
And then
The
and
third
Spider-Man
one,
3,
no.
I was like, and I saw people had mixed opinions. I'm like, oh come on, that can't be that bad. And I think when that movie finished, I was like, I just watched one of the worst movies ever made. I was like in awe of how bad I thought it was. I was like, horrified.
There were some people disappointed in Iron Man 3 too. I
liked Iron
thought
Man
it was
3.
good. I thought it was good, but I was actually went because I was thinking about it for this list because I actually enjoyed Iron Man 3. I knew it was gonna. It ended a solid trilogy. Is what my
See, I
point
was kind of a
been.
little disappointed with Iron Man 2 because
So was I.
they spent
Yeah.
so much time. They were playing setup again. There was the Marvel thing where it's like, I thought this was an Iron Man movie. What's this? All this other bullshit.
Yeah, I thought 3 was superior to 2.
Yes.
by a long shot.
Oh, yeah.
but like there's a lot of people that do not. think
I've
so.
definitely heard some very divisive.
There
opinions
are. I was
about
gonna say,
Iron Man.
Iron Man 3 divides people quite a bit. I thought the finale was really cool. That was definitely the best finale of a Iron Man film.
Yeah, those and the Iron Man movies aren't really known for their action. I would say
No.
in terms of
No,
Iron Man
it's-
3 did some really
it's
fun,
very
creative
Tony
stuff
Stark.
with their
They're known for their
action.
wit and their
And that's what
their charm and
Shane Black is an awesome director and writer, and putting him back with I felt like they had a lot of fun with that.
yeah.
the
Because
third
what
one.
Favreau did the second one, right?
Yeah, he directed it, and then
Yep.
they handed the reins to.
I think he did the first and the second
He
one.
did the first one
first,
Yeah,
yeah.
He did the first,
Favreau.
he
Favreau
bowed
did a
out,
couple.
and they gave it to Shane Black, and I thought it went pretty well.
Yeah, he went well. Shane Black is an extremely capable director and writer. I can't wait to see what he does with Predator.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is smart. He'll make sure he works with if he gets bored of making all this
Yes.
Marvel money.
Yeah.
He'll work with
Still wants to- he
Shane
should
Black
go- he
again.
should.
Well, he
Yeah.
worked with him in Kiss
He
Kiss Bang
He
Bang.
relaunched
It was
his
great.
career.
Yeah.
He has Shane Black to thank for that, as far as I'm concerned, for
Yeah.
relaunching his career with that movie.
I would certainly be inclined to agree. Okay, so and we got to move on with the show here and get to some closing thoughts. I wanted to also talk about a little bit, just maybe briefly. Box office is down in America, like drastically. There is a lot of belief that our summer blockbuster is dying. Is cinema in some way, or the theatrical experience, is it less than it used to be? Does it suck now? But we're seeing a perpetual year-over-year decrease in the domestic box office sales. So what do you guys think that is? And obviously there's not maybe one thing that you can just nail down, but some of your thoughts, because we're going to movies every week.
Yeah, I don't think I'll open up. I guess I don't think it has anything to do with blockbusters sucking. This year has been an example of a very good summer blockbuster year, and it's only picking up. It's still picking up steam.
It's still gaining steam.
I'll
we still got Valerian, Dunkirk,
Yep.
Atomic Blonde, Dark Tower,
and Ragnarok coming up.
That's not until November. That's not summer.
Shit. Like there's going to be like a reset.
Oh,
like summer blockbusters get to come out during the winter now too. How about that?
Well, yeah. I thought for some reason Thor was October. It's November, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's not just. And it's not just to rope in summer blockbusters, but it's just the box office in general. Although it's still making in excess of $10 billion a year,
it is down
compared to like for instance, the War for Planet of the Apes, it made like 56 million opening weekend in America. The last one made like 20 million more than that opening weekend back.
It's a big difference.
Yeah,
5 years ago, it made $20 million more. This one is reviewed just as well. It is just as good, and is 5 years advanced in technology and ability by all involved parties.
It's certainly not the look of movies these days. No. The look is absolutely fantastic. The CGI is never looked better.
Films have never looked better.
Yeah, I think
ever.
We see it in our data and education too. People are a lot busier these days. And although there are many times to go to a movie, I just don't think it's high in the priority of lists, because to take a family out to a movie these days is incredibly expensive. And that's it, because the kids are going to want concessions and stuff, and not everybody goes for that. But concessions when you're charging $10 a pop.
So for you, it's cost. You think it's just cost?
I don't think. I think it's a contributive factor. I don't think it's not the primary reason, because we've been whining about concession costs in movie theaters since the dawn of
forever,
time, and that's never stopped us. I do think it's a contributing factor where the armchair at home waiting for it to come out is as comfortable as the movie theater now.
It is expensive to go to the movies,
and people.
If you're taking a family.
My main point is people are busy, and we see it in education all the time. The families are more involved in different ways. There's more areas to spread your money around than ever before, and so a night out to the movies, the family is not high up on that list anymore. I don't think.
Okay, no, it's a fair point, fair belief. Elijah, what do you got? Why do you think the box office is down?
I think a small part of it might be just so many sequel exhaustion, franchise exhaustion to a point. There's so many, like Transformers finally didn't have it drastic drop from the previous films in North America, and maybe people are getting tired of numerous sequels to everything. But I think that's a small factor. I think the big factor might be in the modern age.
Sequels.
Yeah.
Is there more films than there used to be?
I think there's
coming
more.
out on average?
That's kind of exactly. I think my overall point would be there's more of every. Like, look at TV shows now. Look at Netflix and it. Like the amount of original TV shows coming. People have so many more options for entertainment, more than they've ever had. There's more movies. Movies come to Blu-ray and digital much faster than they ever did before.
You used to have to wait almost a fucking year sometimes.
And I think people now they think, oh yeah, and like you said, okay, you got a family, you got to take your, or you can be like, let's just pop on Netflix and watch something instead.
That movie will be out for me to rent in 3-4 months.
And that's something that even like cinephiles, if we want to call it, like we still are going to the movies, but in theory, if like we don't want to get worry about having potential bad theater experiences, or be like, oh, there might be shitty people in the audience if it's crowded.
Look at tonight, we borderline had a bad theater experience.
Yeah, because again, we're people, like we get bothered by even like little things but it's like I want to watch a fucking movie.
Yeah, I paid $12 to just be in this seat.
So everyone needs to not annoy me. Just sit there and watch the movie. Yeah. But and I'm going to have a better experience at home, so I'll wait the extra couple months, and then I'll watch it at home.
I really like that point, Elijah, about it not being a lack of quality in cinema. It's not perhaps a lack of time and money, as James sort of suggested, which I'm not saying you're wrong.
No, you're saying
but it's simply you're an idiot. Why stop teaching our youth.
Yeah.
But we now exist in a world with unprecedented access to entertainment. Whether it's Netflix or it's Hulu or it's Vudu or it's Amazon Prime.
So easy to access it anywhere. And you're like, why do I have to go to the theater to... I don't have to.
You had to before because you couldn't afford fucking cable. Right? But you could afford to go to a movie occasionally. And now when you have, well, hey, I could spend my time and money and effort and whatever else driving to a movie, etc. Or... fuck it, man. Netflix and chill.
Human laziness is just so...
at least domestically, our will to accept what is accessible with such ease, and that's not to mention the home experience has improved vastly with better TVs and cheap sound bars and whatever. And obviously, hey, man, I have all the respect in the world for sound bars. It's better than just being a Neanderthal and listening to the sounds of whatever you're watching through your television.
Yeah, even that
fucking savages of the world.
Draw the line somewhere.
Draw the line somewhere.
That is the line.
That is the line. At least
get a cheap sound bar.
At least get a fucking cheap sound bar for the love of God.
Or there are you could be one of those people that you're that lazy and you have the money to spend. You could drop like a couple grand on a crazy soundbar. That's
you could drop a couple grand on a sweet ass home theater system. So I think that it's less it's not how expensive the movies are. Although they have gotten more expensive, and
I mean, you look at
there is the widespread societal issue, and I see it all the time as a parent, especially. Because I have to buy shit for my kids year over year. I've got a 15-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 9-year-old. And looking at what certain things cost me a decade ago compared to what they cost me now, it really sucks. It's tough sometimes. So I do wonder if there isn't a slight overarching societal force at play where
we missed this thing completely. We got
everything in life
simple.
is more expensive.
No, it's simple.
Nobody makes as much money.
It's the millennials' fault, Jonah. Millennials are killing movies like they're killing everything else.
They're killing Applebee's and they're killing fucking Chili's.
Yeah, why won't millennials spend money
Kmart
on
and Sears are dead now.
That we did in our day
because we
have no money.
Well, yeah, it's because
dollars need to be
in our day
further.
Money went fucking further.
I
don't know more.
I have to I'm a millennial. I consider myself a millennial, born in 1990.
Yeah, you are.
I have to budget to go to the movie.
You gotta think about it,
of course you do.
I'm $50,000 in debt because I went to college.
Oh, so there's that too. Yeah. Maybe I would go to Applebee's more often. Yeah. But I got $50,000 in debt. Thanks, assholes.
Yeah, with humongous interest. So yeah, that's my part. Yeah.
I do in some ways, and that could be its own podcast episode on the Good Talk in general. Just sort of discussing the whys and hows of economics, and it is a little fucked up to watch how the exponential growth of goods and entertainment against the lack of growth in how much we're all making on a daily basis to go to our jobs is total bullshit, and we're all really pissed about it. So I think, to me, the two prime factors are the ease of access of entertainment through the means of the internet and media such as Netflix and other outlets, and how much more powerful the cinematic opportunities are at home.
It's the same symptoms sports are facing, too.
You think so?
Well, this is actually, I was listening to an economist on a radio show I like to listen to, and he was making the point that college ticket sales were down, NFL ticket sales were down. I mean, they're still selling out games, but the prices aren't going for as high on the resale market.
Because they keep trying to jack up the prices, too.
Not only that, but the experience at home in my chair is better than being at the actual game.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
When you factor in a lot of the combination of happenings.
Yeah, and I could grab a slice of pizza in front of me. I don't have to
instead of paying $25 for a slice.
Yeah, I don't have to walk through. Football games are just not very friendly atmospheres. So
sometimes they can.
Depends if you're on the. I mean, it can be an amazing experience, but it's like, again, you can almost. That's not how I would want all of my football Sundays to be.
Yeah,
I want to keep track
saved
of all
an
the
8-hour
games.
drive and watch this from my chair,
Right.
and watch multiple games at a time if I wanted to. And
Well, the traffic,
Exactly.
the drunken belligerents.
Because everyone has to
and
get
just the
drunk before they
idiocy
step foot in
and-
the stadium. Because beers will bankrupt you if you try and drink beer throughout the course of a football game
Yeah.
at a stadium.
You will.
It's like
You will. If you're going to a football game, you're intoxicated first. So, hey, if you're out there listening, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts too. Why do you think box office is down? If you are somebody who does not go to as many movies now as you once did, why is that? What is keeping you? We go on Tuesdays. It costs us $5. Everybody's got $5 to go to a movie, right? That's nothing.
And also because
It's $5.
If there's movies we want to see, that's just again a cinephile thing. Like, yeah, if there's movies out there, I want to see it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see it right now.
There are there's a movie out there that I want to see. I will cinematically. There are films I feel like are a must see in the theater.
yeah, anything Marvel related, anything superhero related, just Star Wars is something.
There's
see
still
in
a
the
lot
theaters.
of, and that's certain directors like Christopher Nolan's like they're trying to like reinvigorate the theater.
Yeah.
Try and remind you why it's cool to go.
Why
to
it's
the
cool to
movie.
go
Well,
to the
you
movies.
see the movie even tonight. They bring up the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer where Tom Holland's
So,
talking
like-
to us. Well, here's how we designed this movie just so it's the best in the theater. This is why you should be in the
they
theater.
definitely want. They're notice. I'm curious how studios will approach that going forward. Noticing these big drops and how they're going to try and explain it in their own minds.
I don't know. The problem is we're stuck in this growth paradigm of every studio needs to make more money
Yeah, if you're not.
this year than they did last year. Otherwise, you're not successful.
Mm-hmm.
You made $500 million last year, but only
Yeah.
$478 million this year.
So even though-
holy fuck, bros, that's like $22 million.
that's failure,
Like, come
yeah.
on, that's not failure. The problem is that success is always attached to a growth paradigm, and why not just stability? Success is also stability is important, and right now, yeah, it is a pretty stable cinematic market. But if you, I don't know, I don't know what to tell you. You want more people going to movie? You want more people going to the movies? Well, then we need to get fucking paid more to go to our basic ass jobs.
there's the thought.
Because you want to know what? The people who go to fucking movies, all right, they're blue collar people. They're people working in grocery stores and in schools and in retail stores and in restaurants. And how many millions and millions of potential film goers are trapped in this blue collar world where every piece of insurance we need is more expensive, whether it's health or it's cancer or it's fucking life insurance or car insurance. Nothing is ever getting cheaper for us. Ever. So, what the fuck? Yeah, movies are going to crash and fucking burn because we ain't got enough money. We need beer.
Priorities.
But it's I don't know. I think there is definitely an encompassing economic factor in all of it that ties together. And I don't believe that studios will, year by year, continue to accept less money. That's why I've presented before. I've talked about this in Facebook groups and to other people I know. I firmly believe at some point we will start to see some sort of maybe pay-per-view type offering where
They're already looking at that. Yeah.
where you can
They're trying to
watch.
figure out
Oh,
how
I know
they
they
can
are.
make it happen.
Where you could pay a premium dollar to watch a theatrical release at home. I don't have I can't tell you how I believe it will work out, but I do know this. Studios will not continue to accept less money because again, we are all dynamically attached to that growth paradigm. As disgusting as it might be, stability just ain't fucking good enough.
It'll make budgets matter more too, because a lot of these movies too, like they're willing to throw so much money at every Transformers movie because the returns have always added up. If suddenly
Right.
that's
It'll
not,
make
they're not gonna
investors
be-
a little bit more leery. A little bit more leery about where they're throwing their money and what kind of budget they're willing to give. And what's funny too is whenever you could look up the budget for any film, and no budget you look at takes into account the marketing budget. So if you find like $100 million movie, rest assured They spent another $25 million plus marketing that with the toys and the and
ad spots ain't free.
McDonald's toys and Happy Meals and ad spots and billboards and statues and whatever little viral media campaigns they put together
during like the NBA Finals or
like anything
or during the playoffs doesn't. Yeah, that costs
It's not cheap.
It costs a lot of money.
Ad space is more expensive than it's ever been.
Right, like how much do you think it cost? Like if I wanted to put a trailer for my movie in front of the next fucking PewDiePie video, probably ain't cheap,
That's
dude.
That's the future. That's putting in
probably
front
ain't
of the famous
cheap.
YouTubers. Yeah.
Like when are we going to start seeing that? Because they need an in. When are we going to start seeing fucking YouTubers get paid to plug a movie? Who knows? We're probably already there.
I think they already do.
So, I just feel like, in one way, shape, or form, studios, they're not going to accept making less money, and ultimately, the only solution I can identify or think of is that they will somehow find a way to offer cinematic releases, theatrical releases, both at home and in theaters. I don't know how they'll make it all work, but I do firmly believe it is happening.
Sooner even if it's movies we see, it's like, get them out on Blu-ray and digital faster. That's good for, hey, I want to see it again. There it is. Or I wait, and a couple months later, after it's made all the money it's going to make at the box office, why wait? Just, put it out.
Well, and even then, too, like, I wonder, like, I would have to imagine, and I didn't look at this, but I would bet that Blu-ray and DVD sales are also down.
Yeah.
Because of the availability of
enough. I don't think studios how much that helps and or hurts, like how many movies get pushed over the edge because
helps and or hurts.
Digital sales and Blu-ray sales are able to get that into the point of profitability.
Yeah, the mom and pop resale shop for Blu-rays and DVDs has tanked.
Well, it's non-existent now.
And it's not just the rental stores. It's the stores that used to be super successful buying DVDs and Blu-rays and then reselling them.
Yeah.
They are going under. Because nobody's buying physical print.
No,
I'm certainly not.
I don't want
on physical. Totally.
I have a few 4K movies that I have physical.
Totally fucking done with physical media.
And I thought I wouldn't. I was like, as early as a year ago, I'd have been like, nah, I'm gonna keep buying Blu-rays. And now it's like, I don't.
Or I could just.
I don't want.
I could even just, if I really wanted to, I could rent it on YouTube for $3.
Well, that too. Yeah, you can go on Amazon or be like, I want to rent this on HD for $3 or $4, and I'm not going to watch it. You know, even if it's amazing, I don't need to watch it.
I could watch this 3 times for what it would cost me to buy this on print. Is it really going to pay off?
No, it's not. But hey, it ain't going to stop us 3 cinephiles from the ongoing effort to see movies and talk about them here on The Good Talk. So once again, that has been our recap of War for the Planet of the Apes. Additionally, tonight we also covered our thoughts on the dwindling box office returns domestically and trilogies that didn't fuck up their third film. So thank you, everybody, for being here with us. Please, once again, if you're here for the first time or you're here for the 50th time, we really do appreciate every share, like, comment, review, subscription, and anything that you can and or are willing to do to help perpetuate the message of The Good Talk. So find our Facebook group. It's the Good Talk Discussion Network. We highly encourage your interactions with the show. We have a lot of great features coming up in the coming weeks. We're going to be talking about addiction with some pretty heavy-hitting people. We are going to talk about Valerian and Dunkirk and much more. So once again, thank you to our sponsors. Audible is a great service that sponsors the show. We're proud to be brought to you by Audible. If you go to thegoodtalknetwork.com and you click the button for Audible, it will take you to a place where you can sign up for a free month of service, or aka 2 free books of Audible. So it's going to ask you for some brief information. Punch it in and support the show. You can literally spend nothing but a few seconds of your time to monetarily support the show and help keep the lights on and help keep bringing us back. So that is with Audible, and you will also be doing yourself a damn great service, because we should all be expanding our mind and our knowledge base through the power of reading, or in this case, listening with Audible. It's a easy, simple to use app on your phone. So go to thegoodtalknetwork.com, click the Audible button. If you're using an ad blocker, turn it off so you can see the button and sign up and support the show. We'd really appreciate that. We also want to save you $30 on your first Blue Apron order. Blue Apron will make your life easier, and it will make the food you are consuming better. They send you awesome prepackaged meals right to your doorstep. All you have to do is store them until it's time to cook it. They give you step-by-step instructions. And for those of you, if you're a parent, I've had several parents compliment our support and our sponsorship of Blue Apron if you are trying to teach your children how to cook. And it's tough to be the teacher and give them step-by-step instructions and helicopter and hover over them while they're trying to make this. With Blue Apron, if your 10, 12, 14-year-old kid, whatever, can read, you can actually bring them into that process of cooking at home and help teach them how to be a responsible adult. So make meal planning easy, make your home cuisine better by trying Blue Apron. We will save you $30 on your first order if you go to thegoodtalknetwork.com and click the button for Blue Apron. Thanks again, everybody, for listening. Please share us. It's been a damn good talk. We'll be back next week with Valerian and Dunkirk. Later.